Hello, soulmates, and welcome to the Candid Conversations TV show with DocV. I'm Dr. Virginia LeBlanc Shazad, DocV, affectionately, the Pivot Maestro and your corner woman right here on CCTV. We're here to help you face and embrace your fears, to love the skin you're in, while lifting you into a possibility mindset to serve, profit, and sustain in life and business. What is our why and motivation, you may ask? You are, of course, and your rise. We are here to help you navigate those waters of your life and put you back in business as we rise together through truth, transparency, and love. Candid Conversations is where real talk about real experiences, personal journeys, and life business circumstances intersect. Truth and real talk is the norm without exception to help you heal, rebuild, and transform your life and business from the inside out. All are welcome to the show. It is our intention to always take you on a journey of revelation, reconciliation, and renaissance to help you define your path the way you want to do it. So why? Because you are our mission. You are mission essential in making this world a better place. And Candid Conversations is a continuation of our podcast, Define Your Path with DocV, and an unpacking of those 25-30 minutes that we spend with our guest spotlights. So it's just too much fun. Time goes too quickly. We want you to know more about them and learn more about us. So we've decided to take on a new format and invite them to Candid Conversations. So we're going to have a great time. You never know what you might get, but I guarantee it will always be light, love, and life for your soul. So, Candid Conversation, as I said, it's an extension of DYP and of our parent entity, Defining Paths International. So, without further ado, let's get to it. We are bringing back Define Your Path podcast spotlight guest, Kristine Susa. So, Kristine, welcome back, and welcome to Candid Conversations, I should say.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be on Candid Conversations and carry on our conversation that we were having on the podcast.
Absolutely. I just know this is going to be so much fun and fire. Audience, if you've not seen or heard or listened to or watched the podcast with Kristine, please go and do that. It's on any of your favorite podcast platforms and right on our YouTube right here. So check that out at Defining Paths Online. Check out that episode. And before we get started, I'm sure my wheels are spinning already, Kristine. I just want to refresh their memory for those of you who may not have watched or listened to that. I want to introduce Kristine, and for those of you who have, I just want to refresh your memory is what I'm trying to say. I'm already tongue-tied. So she is a digital nomad roaming the world one Wi-Fi signal at a time. Kristine grew up in a small city in the prairies of Canada with an endless dream of travel and exploration, my type of girl. She started as a digital nomad with a network marketing company and has evolved over the years into many, many areas of business to land her now in podcast management, helping creators launch and grow impactful shows, no matter where they are in life and business. So, Kristine, let's just pick up where we left off in our podcast episode and just follow our flow. And so, how about starting with how you've risen from the ashes, giving honor to our season's theme, Burnout Rising from the Ashes?
Yeah, that's a great place to start. In our podcast episode, we finished with basically just the origin story of how I became a digital nomad from small town city in Canada.
Yay.
And so the rising from the ashes story really kind of jumps forward, I would say 4 years from where we kind of left off.
Hmm.
And I was in the peak of my travel at that point. I was overseas in Europe and England, and I was house sitting over there actually. It's a
Yeah.
really cool way to travel is house
Mhm.
sitting when people want to go on vacation and they need someone to like take care of their pets. So when this all started, I was over in England, in Winchester or Chichester, one of those Chesters,
It's a
house
lot of
sitting.
Chesters over here, girl.
There's a lot of Chesters down there, but they're so cool. I have such a spot in my heart for England as a whole
Yeah.
and Scotland and Ireland. It's just, I
Yeah.
love that part of the world and the history and the culture that comes out of it. But anyways, I digress. So I was house sitting at the time over in England and got a call from my family. and I was notified that grandma wasn't doing so well and it's time to come home. Like it's time. So I was like,
Mhm.
okay, sounds good. Let's do it. So this was in end of summer of 2022. So this is kind of still when the COVID restrictions were going on.
Yeah.
The rest of the world essentially had opened up, but
Hmm.
Canada, for whatever reason, was still really holding on to the quarantines and all of the shots, and they were really sticking to their guns with all that stuff. So I tried to get the quickest flight home that I could back to Canada, and then still had to do the government's mandate to stay in your house in quarantine for 2 weeks, just
Hmm.
for whatever reason. Um, and unfortunately, during that time that I was waiting in quarantine, my grandma had passed away.
Oh,
So,
wow. Yeah.
kind of jumping back to Canada, already very disgruntled about the situation there, and then the heartbreak of losing grandma. And I think I was only 2 days away from being able to like officially legally leave
Mm-hmm.
quarantine.
Hmm.
And they were like pretty intense with that stuff too. There was people calling me every day. There was people coming to my house to make sure I was actually there.
Wow.
Um,
Hmm.
So they were, there was not even a way I could have snuck into the hospital to go see her
Yeah.
because they were checking IDs and everything. And it was just, it was too tight to get in there. So yeah, I was about 2 or 3 days late to coming home and like saying an official in-person goodbye to grandma,
Oh,
unfortunately.
girl. Yeah.
So that was a little bit rough.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, well, now we're back in Canada. Now what are we gonna do?
Right.
So I was still digital nomading at the time, and I was doing web design and web development for a few clients still currently
Hmm.
in my roster. And I rekindled a love with a boy
Oh,
that I met probably 10 years prior to that. One
yeah.
of those just like wrong timing situations. It was big party
Hmm.
days back then, right
Hmm.
person, wrong time. And
Yeah.
we kind of just found each other again in September, like when I was back in town. Went on
Yeah.
a couple dates, fell very, very hot and heavy.
Yeah.
And kind of just my brain was in such like a bad kind of headspace by that point in time, just with
Hmm.
all of obviously the COVID stuff going on and then losing grandma. And then I never really am in a great space when I come back to Canada because it just
Right.
brings up so many emotions. So
Mm.
it's hard to
Mm.
have clarity for creativity and excitement and energeticness when it comes to business because as business owners, we really, really rely on energies a lot.
Yes.
Like you need to be creative all the time. You need to be thinking
Hmm.
strategically all the time and have that kind of open headspace to be
Hmm.
able to not effectively just serve your clients, but do your marketing and strategize and learn how to grow and what's next? What's the next
Right.
project that we're going to be doing or the next course we're going to be creating? So
Right.
I was already kind of not in a great headspace
Hmm.
around this time when I rekindled with the boy. But I
Hmm.
was like, you know what? This is great. This is like a first good spark that I've felt in a while.
Yeah.
I just felt really good.
Yeah.
And then
It's like
over
a
the
warm
next,
blanket type thing, huh?
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
it was. And everyone kind of even suggested that it was moving a little too fast.
Mm.
Like we had been seeing each other for about a month, and then he got a job out in Thunder Bay, Ontario for a month or so. And he was like, come with me. And I said, why the heck not? Like, I've never been out there before. Why the heck not? And it wasn't a great trip. It was very much he wanted a mommy out there. And I reluctantly stepped into that role because I thought it was more
Yeah.
so at the time I thought I was just being a good girlfriend and a good partner
Hmm.
and just
Hmm.
helping.
Yeah.
And all the while I was still trying to work with clients and do web
Hmm.
design and one of my business partners, we were trying to create like some really fun plug and play kind of journalistic products as well for people at the time.
Yeah.
And after a couple of weeks of being out there, it was very much take care of my dog because we brought his dog out there.
Hmm.
Take care of my dog. We need to go grocery shopping. Why aren't you cooking for me? Um, and then kind of like with looking back on it now, it's crazy to see how things are so clear, but at the time, these little things, you don't even think about it. You just kind of are
Yeah.
just like, yeah, okay, like I'm so sorry. Like, yeah, I'll cook for you next time you get home. I'll do
Yeah.
this for you, whatever, whatever. And you just kind of slowly begin to lose yourself.
Yes. I was literally
And
about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't realize it at the time. I just
Hmm.
really just it was kind of blanketed in, oh, you're just being a good girlfriend. You're just being a good supportive partner. Like this is what you should be doing. This feels right. He's happy. You're making him happy. And all the while I was sacrificing my mental state and my abilities to continue with my business and build my business and develop.
Yeah.
And we were together for about a year, I would say, probably only a year. And during that time, we lived together in Thunder Bay. And then we moved back to our hometown and we lived here for a while. And then we moved out to Mexico and lived there together for about 3 months. And all of these, like, very abusive, not physically, but just like mentally abusive
Hmm.
tendencies started to come out.
Wow.
And throughout that year, really just picked away at every little part of who I was and every little piece of mental state that I had.
Mm.
And
It was snuffing out
we,
your soul. Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm just like, I'm such an empathetic, like, I want to make people happy. I don't
Hmm.
know if I'm a people pleaser, but like, if I love someone, friendship or romantically, like, I
Yeah.
want to do anything I can for them because I just feel like that's a good thing to do. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, like during that whole year, I really just let business go because I had no capacity for it. All I was doing was mothering this man child who had so many demons within him that didn't really start showing until about month 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I could just see like he was just so lost and in pain. And I felt for him and felt so sad for him more than I was like mad. Like I
Yeah.
never put myself first when it came to that. It was
Yeah.
very much I could just see how much he's struggling and like I need to help him. I need to do whatever I can to help him. May
Mm.
that be clean the house every single day or do the I don't know, make dinner every single day. Like he would
Yeah.
come home from work and I would be on my computer for just zoned in for
Yeah.
like 8 to 10 hours a day. And he would get home and I'd still be on my computer. And he would just look at me and say, "What did you even do today?" And I was like, I haven't even eaten today myself. I haven't had breakfast or lunch or anything. I've just been so in my zone and in my computer."
Yeah.
And he started to make me feel very guilty for that, for
Mm.
focusing on work and trying to bring money in. Like,
Right.
I think that he just thought since I was working from my computer at home that that meant that I was maybe on my computer working for an hour or two, and then I
Yeah.
was just at home playing games or watching movies or whatever he thought that I was doing, and that I wasn't being a good partner because I've got all this extra time and I'm just being lazy at home.
Yeah.
And that really started eating away at me too. And then
Hmm.
I just let everything go. I finished off my client contracts and I finished off the websites that I had been working on, and I hadn't put any brain capacity into
Yeah.
actually marketing and getting new clients and networking and doing anything
Mhm.
because I just had no capacity for it.
Yeah.
And finally, in October of 2023, we were just like, this is enough. Like we can't do this anymore. Like this isn't I've lost my spark. It's completely drowned out. It's completely flooded out and left the relationship.
Mm.
And it was looking back on it, it was 100% the best move and it should have been made so much sooner
So much sooner. Yeah.
because everything was gone. My social life was gone. My spark was gone. My
Mm.
business, I had just completely burned it to the ground essentially because I had just put all of my energy into this one
Yeah.
person, trying to help them and put myself aside and put my health aside and just everything. Just
Yeah.
burned my entire life to the ground. So
Yeah.
we left the relationship and moved back in with mom and dad as a 33-year-old. That's nothing that anyone really desires to do, but I had nothing in me. I was just,
Yeah.
I don't even know the words to describe it. I was just so numbed out, and I
Yeah.
don't think I've been so just like taken over and upset before in my life. Like I would be just
Yeah.
driving down the street, just bawling, and like in
Mhm.
the most dramatic way. And I
Yeah.
just And I remember I've actually, I don't know why, I don't remember why I first started doing this, but I was actually recording myself Because I think
Mm.
at first I was like, I'm gonna vlog this breakup and I'm gonna see where I
Yeah.
started and how I end up. And that's kind of where it started. It was just like I look back on some of those videos now and I'm just hysterically broken down bawling in my car driving after work or
Yeah.
something like that and just trying to keep composure because I was so broken at that point.
Yeah.
Um so
Girl.
after a few months at mom and dad's, I finally was like, okay, we need to get our own space so I can heal. I think it was
Mhm.
good for the time being at mom and dad's because it's safe, it's secure, right?
You needed
They're
someone
usually
else to
pretty,
pour into you. Yeah.
yeah,
You've given
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they're usually pretty good, but I'm one of those people that I really like processing and dealing with things on my own.
Hmm.
And until I have my own thoughts together, I
Yes.
don't really like people coming at me and saying like, How are you? Are you okay? Do you need a hug?"
Mm.
And
Yeah, I get
it just destroys me,
it. Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
So, and I do not fault mom and dad by any means, but they were constantly like asking like how I'm doing, and I'm like, I'm not okay. Like, I'm not okay, and there's nothing that's gonna help right now. I
Yeah.
just need to not be okay right now.
Yeah.
And it took a little bit, but I said, I need a safe space where I can just break down and bawl and scream and just do whatever I need to do to move
Yeah.
all this stuff through. And then it was December. I moved out to a beach town in December in Saskatchewan, which for
Yeah.
anyone who knows anything about Saskatchewan, Canada, it's the least desirable place to be in the wintertime when it's minus 40 and snow storms are constantly blowing around and freezing
Yeah.
our faces off. Like it's
Yeah.
the worst. But I was like, I need something totally different but
Yes.
not too different. Just something
Hmm.
a little bit in between. So yeah, I found this. I call it the murder house.
Oh gosh.
There's there's a house that I found for rent. It straight up looked like the basement. You'd go down there and it looks like somewhere you would find someone blindfolded and tied up in the
Girl,
basement.
no.
Like it was the funniest thing, but at the same time I was like, it's kind of perfect. Like it's kind of exactly what I need. I'm not gonna go down there. I feel like things went down there that I shouldn't know about, but the house was just like kind of exactly what I needed.
Hmm.
And during that time, it was so nice to be able to go out there and get home from work. And I remember multiple nights, I would get home from work and just immediately drop to my knees and just start crying.
Yeah.
Like, such a broken person. And that was, oh my gosh, that was like January of 2024. So actually not that long ago anymore.
Yeah.
And it took about a year to kind of bounce back from all of that stuff and kind of get back to finding me. Like during that time
Yes.
out there, I was alone. I was pretty secluded. I was about 40 minutes away from town, so nobody
Mhm.
was going to come out on the weeknights for like an hour
Yeah.
because they have to drive almost 2 hours round trip, right? So
Yeah.
it was nice in that sense, and I could kind of wake up in the morning, take my days. I would read, I would listen to podcasts, journal, meditate, go for walks along
Mhm.
the beach. Like, just
Yes.
very much took about 6 months to just really start to be okay. It wasn't even that I was healing in like the
Mhm.
upward trajectory. I was kind of just really getting out of the bottom of the pit.
Yeah. You were just trying
And
to breathe. Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And then I finally started to feel okay. My head wasn't numb anymore. You know when you have so many thoughts and emotions and you just
Hmm.
at that point don't have any thoughts or emotions?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very much where it was at. And
Yeah.
that was like a good step for me to be numbed
Yeah.
out like that rather than just so hysterically upset. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay. I mean, feeling nothing is better than feeling so depressed and sad.
Yeah,
Like,
when you process it, it's all a journey, right? So you
yeah.
allowed yourself to feel, right?
Hmm.
You went through your stages of grief and all of that,
Hmm.
and then but you followed your soul that was calling you to just
Hmm.
withdraw, and just
Yeah.
spend time with you so you could feel what you could feel unapologetically,
Yeah.
and just take that time. And the water is literally my favorite place, be anywhere near the water because there's just so much magic and energy and healing energy
Mhm.
that we don't process or realize that can happen, that happens at the waterside.
Yeah.
And so no, girl, look, I'm telling you, you're sharing is, I'm like, okay, have you been in my life?
I feel like, and that's the thing, I feel like a lot, like my story is not like it's not an unnormal thing to hear. I feel like it's a very common story, but I also feel like a lot of people really don't like sharing those rock bottoms. Like
Right.
I remember talking to one of my friends on New Year's Day of 2024, and I was literally at the point where I was like, I don't want to be on this earth anymore. Like
Mm,
I was at a bottom, and
yeah.
I've never hit that bottom before. And I was like, this can't just all be over a boy. Like it can't be. That's
Mhm.
ludicrous. Like it can't
Yeah.
be. And yeah, during that time, it really took a lot to realize that it wasn't just because of the boy. Like he obviously accelerated it, but
Yeah.
my entire identity and who I was and
Yeah.
what brought me joy was just stripped from me. And I had
Yeah.
no sense of self or purpose anymore. And
Yeah.
that's really what brought me to that depth of depression, for lack of better words,
Right.
was entirely losing myself.
Yeah. But
And
yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
Um, yeah, so that was kind of like a really scary realization to have, was
Yeah.
just I really wanted to be able to just blame him.
Mm,
But I'm
hmm.
not that type of person. I really am kind of analytical and reflective, and I really like to see all aspects of the stories.
Yeah.
And looking back on like that last year where I kind of thought, I was like, when was the last time I was like wholeheartedly just blissfully happy?
Yeah.
And immediately when I asked myself that, I saw myself sitting in like it was in Winchester actually when I was house sitting,
Mm,
this little
hmm.
cat.
Yeah.
Um, and they had like this beautiful sunroom with this beautiful flowerful backyard.
Hmm.
And this little kitty was just like coming and going, and he'd come and hang out with me. And I was
Hmm.
like, that was so long ago. Like
Yeah.
that's wild that that's the first memory that comes up when I ask myself, when's the last time I was happy? Like that's wild. And during
Yeah.
that time, I was getting all these like scuba certifications, living in Mexico under the sea, and like all of those memories are just so tarnished
Mm,
from that relationship that I was just like, that's so crazy and so upsetting. And like anyone who is in my space and knows me, they know that I'm so chatty. I'm such a light. I'm such a positive person.
yeah.
I'm pretty diplomatic. I do like to see things from everyone's point of view. So sometimes
Hmm.
people don't like that, but I'm very like honest and full of integrity, and
Yeah.
I didn't have any of that anymore. Like it's not that I was like lying to people during this point in time. I
Mm,
just was dissociating and
yes.
ignoring everyone. And if anyone texted me or called me, I would
Mm,
look at my phone and just throw my phone to the couch. I just like
yeah.
wasn't a person anymore. It was
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, no, that is so real. And it happens to so many of us, particularly us women, who are told or socially conditioned, to think, or culturally conditioned to think that we simply exist for the pleasure and at the pleasure of the man. Well, when you
Mhm.
really sit and think about it, you do spend time, you step away, or you manage to unplug from that programming, that whole
Mhm.
matrix thinking, and you realize, that can't possibly be true because, if we are literally co-creators with God, right? Women bring life to this earth,
Mhm.
and we nurture and all of that and all the gifts, and the important roles that women should be playing on this earth, because I truly believe as we heal, the earth will heal.
Mhm.
It's like when you start stepping back and you start thinking like this, like reprogramming your thinking and really like
Mhm.
tuning into your channel as opposed to being everything from someone else, and to kind of back up and rewind to I think you made a comment about you don't know if it was a people pleasing thing or you just want people to be happy. We just want people to be happy, right? Because,
Mhm.
most women, that's if you have love and you light in your heart and your being, that's what you want. But there
Mhm.
is usually something in our past or something that has clicked where we feel like we need to make them happy also, right? That we can't choose us. Let's go there. Let's have that conversation because
Yeah.
bravo to you for choosing you. So many of us don't choose ourselves. And that's not a selfish thing because oftentimes, just in your case, like in my case, it was self-preservation, right?
Hmm.
So that because literally you feel like your soul is being snuffed out and you can't breathe, and you forget who you are. So you go through these identity crises and imposter syndrome and all these other
Hmm.
things, right? And then
Yeah.
that takes so much time to recover from. So, for those of us who manage to find that, our willpower to find that strength,
Hmm.
and just stop that cycle, kudos to you, kudos to us all, because it's nothing wrong with choosing you so that you can recover self, right? And we
Hmm.
can start speaking life back in ourselves because we constantly pour out, right?
Yeah.
And rarely do we get filled back up, right? Until you find that right person, like my beautiful soulmate husband, who literally just pours life into me, speaks life into me, and
Hmm.
oftentimes, we end up, for whatever reasons, we find ourselves in these relationships that just, or they take life as opposed to giving life. So, I first of all, I appreciate your raw truth and transparency, and just sharing this so other women can hopefully find or something will click and they'll start to seek and find that self-worth, and that respect for themselves so they can arrive at that self-love place.
Hmm.
And let's pivot that direction too, because you have some serious self-love going on, girl, over this past year. As we've talked about it, it's manifesting even in your business.
Hmm.
Because one of the things like that my husband and I build our business on are four pillars: mind, body, soul, business. And
Hmm.
that's because if you had a picture, right, of like, I guess, a rectangle shape of your business, right? And then you had that triangle with mind, body, soul. We literally are our business, and our business is us. And so when you're in that state and place where, I mean, you literally are just, the soul is snuffing out, or the body is exhausted, and the mind is constantly spinning, and what have you, you can't. You
Yeah.
can't handle your business, personally or professionally, right? And so it makes perfect sense what you shared about how, just the exhaustion, trying to be that everything to that individual. Literally, I mean, you had to let go of the business, right? Because,
Yeah.
that it's like a tsunami, really,
Hmm.
just overtaking and overcoming you. So,
Hmm.
sometimes we consciously, and I'd love to have this conversation, we consciously burn out, right? Burn it all down. But sometimes we subconsciously allow it to burn down.
Hmm.
So it sounds like you kind of did some of both,
Yeah.
would you say?
Yeah, I didn't have the mental capacity to keep it going, and I very much knew that. When I
Mm.
was finishing off that final web design project with that client,
Yeah.
I was relieved that I didn't have anything else going on client-wise, because I
Hmm.
didn't. I was so energetically spent. And like you said, when you're like, you are your business at the end of the day, especially entrepreneurs, and like we know that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Like, if we don't do the work, no one's going to do it for us, and then the business doesn't go anywhere, and then it goes down.
Yeah.
Um, so if you don't have the brain capacity to keep going and keep networking and have your energy high and have your creativity high, to do all the things, it just goes away. And
Yeah.
I very, very, very much knew that I didn't have the energy for anything, absolutely anything. Like, I've always been very upbeat, spunky, like
Mhm.
all these kind of fun stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any of that when we finally decided to break away from each other.
Mhm.
Like, I've always worked in the service industry too, like
Mhm.
bartending and serving, and because
Mhm.
it's so fun and energetic, and that's who I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't even have energy to do that. So
Mhm.
I found like the most boring office job that I could find. And I would just sit there in silence for 95% of the day from like my 9 to 5 job. And I
Yeah.
did that for 3 months. And it was just, again, it was a necessary evil. You
Yeah.
just gotta adapt and pivot when all of those things come and
Yes.
really just give yourself the grace and
Yeah.
the understanding that you really need to heal. Like that's where I'm so thankful is that I didn't push anything. I
Mm.
wasn't forcing myself to go out and socialize with friends.
Yeah.
I wasn't like forcing myself to a socialistic high energy job. Like I knew that I wouldn't be able to do that right now.
Mm.
Um, and I put myself in the positions where it could slowly allow myself to heal without
Yes.
even doing any actual work, just allowing all of that stuff to kind of level out so we could start doing some work and could start, you
Yeah.
know, integrating back into society and
Right.
like all of this stuff. Like that office job, I've never had an office job before, and it was
Hmm.
the worst thing. Looking back on it, it was the worst thing that I've ever done. Necessary, 100% necessary, and I'm
Yeah.
thankful for that. But oh my God, just
Yeah.
sitting there for 9 hours a day, it was
Yeah.
just
It's
reiterated again why I love
mhm.
being an entrepreneur and I love being a digital nomad. Because I'm like, how do you
Yeah.
guys do this?
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Sometimes we have to walk those paths. We have to go through
Yeah.
certain things that aren't really us, right? So we can get
Mhm.
clear on our soul alignment
Yeah.
and what is, what
Yeah.
is our purpose? What were we meant to be doing?
Yeah.
So I mean, sometimes we have to walk through those seasons. That it's that whole saying, literally, reasons, seasons,
Mhm.
lifetimes. And so yeah, I love the fact that you seem to be very self-aware and conscious,
Mhm.
which a lot of people, because of, again, the paths life has put us on, well-meaning people, et cetera, all of that, education, so on and so forth, we check out oftentimes, and we don't
Mhm.
even realize when we are living this life that is not authentic, right? That is literally just putting on one mask after another. I was one of those people, and you
Mhm.
think about, folks climbing ladders and just all of this conversation, right? Only one
Yeah.
person can get up a ladder at a time, right? And it's
Yeah.
like this crazy cycle. First of all, why are we climbing ladders? Why is there
Yeah.
all of these things, all these conversations that we don't stop and think or have time to have until life happens, right? You hit that brick wall and
Yeah.
then you have to go through the process of thinking about it and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But for someone, as young as you are, you don't have to tell me your age or anybody, but to have those revelations, to be that consciously aware or plugged in and be able to make those pivots, and it's commendable, and it's a rare thing,
Yeah.
so um, you know, and also not to be worried about social circles falling by the wayside, right?
Mhm.
Because I
Yeah.
mean, we're made for, right, community,
Mhm.
and to do life and business with each other or what have you, or trade, I will say.
Mhm.
Um, but to oftentimes we worry about those things more than ourselves and
Mhm.
our health and wellness, until, me being hard-headed and then just, I guess, God was like, okay, so you're not gonna sit down and listen. So I'm just gonna allow these things to happen and whatever. So,
Mhm.
okay, so you have my attention and now I'm walking in my purpose.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
mhm,
yeah. Yeah. I used to be like a party girl, I will say that. And I used to be very concerned about social circles and whatnot.
mhm,
But over the years, that stuff really goes off to the side and you really kind of weed all that out and kind of, you
yeah.
know who's always going to be your people. And I kind of learned that earlier on, especially when I left town and started traveling and moving away like 5 or 6 years ago or whatever.
Mhm,
I would bounce back in to town once or twice a year.
mhm,
And I would see like a handful of friends.
yeah.
And I would always know who would like reach out to me while I was away or who I would reach out to while I was away. And those kind of not high quality relationships or friendships, they
Mhm,
really just weeded themselves out, right?
mm,
So,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I still have like I can't speak, my solid core group of friends that I've had for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that I would always see when I would come back to town. I would make a special point, even if it was just like an hour to come sit on the couch and talk, right? I would
Yeah.
always make that effort to come and see them when I came back into town.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was going through that really low low, they all knew that the breakup was happening. They all knew that things were bad months before it all went down.
Mm.
And I really did kind of just say to them, I said, hey, I'm moving out to the beach. A, come help me move. And B, I'm gonna be distant for a while because I just really need to be alone and heal. And they
Yeah.
were so supportive, right? Like they would message me, they would text me like once a week maybe and just be like, you good? Everything okay? And I'd be
Yeah.
like, yeah, no worries. Right? So they were, and they know that about me too. They know that I'm a self-healer and they know that when I'm ready to come out and talk, I'll come
Yeah.
out and I'll talk your ear off. But I always need to do that kind of healing on my own. And
Yeah.
I find it makes things go faster because then you're not
Yes.
kind of, you don't take in the thoughts and ideas of anyone else.
Yes.
You
So
kind
true.
of, you reflect on everything from your own experience.
Yes.
Um, and you can really heal a lot better, in my opinion, by doing
Right.
that. Yes,
Yes.
it's good to have a support system, and yes, it's good to talk about them, but people are always going to give you advice from their past experiences,
Yes.
which are probably not going to match your own
Mm-hmm.
exactly, and they're also going to give you their opinions on just their thoughts, right?
Mm.
Which are, again, not going to be the same as yours.
Right.
So I didn't want to be influenced by any of that stuff while I was healing because I
Mm-hmm.
figured that would just confuse me or turn
Yes.
me in a wrong direction. So
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of went out to the beach for like 6, 7 months and didn't really talk to anyone,
Yeah.
worked, did what I needed to do, and started to heal. And
Yeah.
then finally felt like the clouds lifting finally. And I was
Mm.
like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
waking up and I don't want to just lay in bed for 6 hours today. I actually want to get up and dance. Like, I
Yeah.
started putting my Google alarm as like 2010s dance music, and I'd wake
I
up to
love it.
Pitbull in the morning. Like, like just these little tiny things that I really
Yes.
started to kind of see my happiness and my spark kind of start coming back. And I was like,
Yes.
oh, we're almost back, baby.
Yes.
So
That's you shaking off those ashes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it was the best feeling ever because I was like, this
Yeah.
is wild to think that January 1st of this year, I genuinely told someone that I didn't want to be on this earth anymore. I've
Mm.
never said that before. And like even in that moment when I said that, I was like, that's scary.
Yeah.
Like that's really a scary realization to have and
Right.
to be in. I know sometimes people joke about that stuff, but that's not funny in my opinion.
Yeah.
And to like very, very seriously want that
Yeah.
was wild to me.
Yeah.
And then jumping into like August of that year when
Mm-hmm.
my brain was finally starting to heal and I was like, I think we're in a good place that we could probably start the business back up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, there was nothing at this point. Burned it to the ground. No
Mm-hmm.
clients, no network, no nothing at this
Yes.
point, right? So
Yeah.
I was like, we are a greenie. We're starting from the ground up.
Yeah.
And I said to myself in that moment, I said, we're gonna do one full year. And I've been joining this networking event
Mm-hmm.
for almost a full year now, every Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, we're gonna do this for a full year and just reevaluate after a year and see how things are going.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I started going every single Wednesday, even if it was just for an hour or something, just
Mm-hmm.
to kind of get back out into the business world, right? Because I had been out of it for so long. I was
Yeah.
like, why do we even do this anymore? Like, my
Right.
last two clients were in person, like a dive shop from down in Mexico was like my
Yeah.
most recent website client 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So, I was like, how do we even get back into this? And
Yeah.
just kind of getting back into those spaces with those women who are business owners and
Yes.
looking for just like networking opportunities and
Mm-hmm.
helping and
Yeah.
practicing and like kind of just being in that space
Yeah.
really started to build my confidence back up because that had kind of been shot to the ground too.
Yeah.
And I kind of sat in the background for probably 3 months during those events, but
Mm-hmm.
I was there. And that was
Yes.
the goal, just be
You
there.
plug back in,
Yeah.
period. So that starts
Yeah.
the electricity. Yeah.
And then seeds were just slowly getting planted.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, like I just told you when before we even started recording,
Yeah.
3 weeks ago, I signed like my first client since I burned
Yeah.
everything down to the ground. And that's
Yeah.
within the year of starting. And like lots of
Mm.
talks with like potential clients and people that I've been talking to for a few months that they're not ready right now, but we're gonna do it later, save me a spot. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy how quickly things can just turn around.
It.
And like, especially in business, I always say to people in business, it's probably not going to work in a month or two or three or four. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, give it a minimum a year and like a
Mm-hmm.
good solid effort for a year and see where it goes. And I mean, if you don't like it, pivot or adapt, or
Yes.
maybe it's not for you. Like
Yes.
sometimes
Right.
it's not, and like that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, no, totally. Oh, this is so good. This girl, there are just diamonds all over this conversation, and I'm trying to figure out which one to pick up now. But you just said something so important, and we started talking about it at the top of the conversation, also about energy,
Hmm.
and just plugging back in, right? So sometimes we have to consciously step away, Sometimes life happens so much that it causes us to step away, whatever the case may be. It's never too late to plug back in. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of women have this fear. It's like, oh, I've been away. I personally went through that, when I consciously stepped away, for about 3 years. And, you can't be worried about, because who's for you will be for you, right?
Yeah.
Who you are to serve will come to you, right? When you're in that healthy space and place, right? You don't have to chase, you will attract people,
Hmm.
right, to into your sphere, and then the magic will just start to happen. And I love how even like you're walking testimony to folks who are out there in a same similar place that you've been in, might, and to just share the fact that it's possible. That's that
Hmm.
possibility mindset also. You just have to keep breathing, right? You just keep living, because life is so worth living. And even in those moments when we think, oh my goodness, I don't think I can get up off this mat, right? Even just plugging back into a group, a networking group,
Hmm.
and just meeting people, just listening. Because
Hmm.
see, we forget that even though, like, I'm a true believer that death and life is in the power of the tongue, right? So when we even hear other people speaking it, they're speaking life into our ears, right? And it's
Hmm.
like fortifying and building us up to get to that point where we can start speaking life, back into ourselves, thinking and speaking it, and it's slowly resuscitating our soul.
Hmm.
So, I love that fight in you, sis. I do, I do, I do. I love that clients are starting or to knock on your door. And yeah, so do you want to just kind of share some of those experiences or those conversations maybe you might even be having with them? Like some of the ones who've come to you, or have they kind of been in that space also, and they're just looking for someone to partner with, because that is huge also. So maybe let's kind of shift the conversation to talk about
Yeah.
business within partnering, right? Because we all
Hmm.
need someone. I mean, we can teach ourselves, right, just about anything, right, if we really try and want to. But it's figuring out what is our soul alignment and what is our superpower, and then operating in that, and then linking arms with other people to be a blessing to them and just make life and business happen together. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I totally agree. Um, in my in my personal experience, just over this last year, for instance,
Hmm.
um, you this space is actually the first time that I've actually spoken about what's been going on for the past 3 years.
Oh, wow.
So I've kind of said in some of my talks with some of my potential clients a little bit of these tidbits just within like the networking events
Yeah.
and stuff, but
Hmm.
I've never gone into depths or anything, and it's never been like a connective factor between me and anyone that I speak to.
Hmm.
Because I don't want them to kind of know me as that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I really want them to just know me as like this fun, energetic, creative
Hmm.
person who's going to be a ride or die on their team, who's going to be honest with them and transparent and lead with integrity and really, really
Hmm.
helping them along the way, right? Like I really want to be known as that rather than the
Yeah.
girl who, lost herself
Yeah.
to a boy and burned her whole life down and built it back up. That's a great story,
Yeah.
but I really, yeah, I really want my clients to kind of know me for my peak, right?
Yeah.
So,
And that
but
and that's
I'm not
wisdom.
scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not scared to share. right? So if
And
anyone
that's
wants to
important.
ask or anything like
Yes.
that, I'm
Yeah.
always one to say, hey, I actually burned my business to the ground a couple of years
Yeah.
ago, but it's nothing I lead with.
Right, right. And I think that's so important though to be, and that is healthy. That's a healthy space to be in, right? So
Yeah.
if you do, you're in a conversation with a client and they're needing someone to understand or empathize or relate or what have you, those conversations might come out. But I think what you've done though, you've owned your story and now you're empowered to share it with whom you want to share it with when it's necessary to
Mhm.
share it, or but it's not anything that you're fearful of or running from. And I think that's a huge part of the healing process also,
Yeah.
for people, women, even men, to sit with, you know their life story, and yeah, so no, kudos.
Yeah. Like I think vulnerability is such an invaluable thing that people can offer in the online
Yeah.
space nowadays. Because
Yes.
it like we used to live in the world of cold pitching, cold DMing, all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
now people really want real people to work with.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I find a lot of people, even like our most successful entrepreneurs and mentors that we all look up to, we all have them on social media and online. They've all got these stories behind them as well. They just don't talk about it. All they like a lot of the time it's glamorized being in the online space.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great to hear that people are making 10,000, 20,000 months, right? Like
Hmm.
that's great. That's always the goal. But there's always something that goes on behind that. It's not all
Yes.
glamorized and beautiful. There
Yes.
is ebbs and flows, and a lot of the people that I look up to online, they're actually starting to share those burn him to the ground moments.
Yes.
And it's so beautiful to read about because they
Yeah.
feel like real people at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm never scared to share any of those stories. And even potential clients now that come to me asking, yeah, like I want to start a podcast. This is where I'm at in business. This is what I'm making, blah, blah, blah. And I've actually said to a few of them, I'm like, I don't think this is a good idea for you right now.
Hmm.
Just longevity wise, I don't think a podcast is the right thing for you because it does take lots of time and energy. And lots of people, especially in the beginning stages of their entrepreneurial phases, they say yes to everyone. They
Hmm.
want clients, right? Even
Yes.
if it's a bad idea for the client or for them,
Hmm.
like they just say yes. And I'm really happy to be in that space, especially now in like this season of business, to say like I don't think it would be a good idea for you to do this right now because I think it would just cause stress on every other part of your business and I think it would hurt
Yes.
you in the long run. But let's talk in 6 to 12 months and see
Hmm.
where you're at and maybe that'll be better.
It's
And
brilliant.
they
Yeah.
they kind of look at it in a different light because they're like, "Oh, someone just doesn't want my money." Like
Hmm.
this girl like genuinely
Yes.
cares and
Hmm.
genuinely wants me to succeed.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I want. Like that's I think
Yes.
right now what's getting me all of these conversations and actually signing me clients now too is that
Yeah.
I am that person that's going to say, "No, that's a bad idea."
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
don't do that. Or if they're doing something that could be elevated or shifted to make things better, I'll say, "I know you like doing it this way, but if you try it this way, you'll probably get better results."
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that is so important, and it's so true. And I've noticed a shift on these quote unquote, experts and famous folks, right? And one of the reasons I started this podcast, Define Your Path podcast, and Candid Conversations, about 3 years ago
Mhm.
now. So I guess, and then sat out for a bit, was to bring real people, quote unquote, real people and stories, to the forefront because more people can relate to it. I don't know. I guess I was a little bit ahead of my time when I think about it, but because it's so many times we think, oh, it's not possible, or these people are so far ahead of me, and they have,
Mhm.
they're making all these millions and they have these tens of thousands of, but you
Mhm.
got to start somewhere,
Yeah.
and it's also a different day. It's a different time.
Mhm.
And people want realness.
Mhm.
They want to be able to really, they're looking for lifelines. They're looking
Mhm.
for truth, right? They're
Mhm.
looking for folks to be transparent. and and do all of that with and in love, and you're actually keeping food on people's table, telling them the truth. You don't need to
Mhm.
do this right now. With all due respect, I think you need to focus on that.
Mhm.
I'm sure that shocks people, because
Yeah.
they're not used to it, because people are and I was one of those people, oh, go cash out your retirement, go do this, go do that, with no thought to their life and livelihoods, not even getting to know them, but just playing on emotion, and
Yeah.
fear, and so more and more of us are not operating in that space, and it's so refreshing, just for me, I'll speak for myself, but in conversations that I'm having with other folks, I mean, they just can't believe that you actually
Mhm.
care, and that you are genuine, which is a sad statement of the world. But,
I was gonna
but
say that shouldn't be a compliment. That should just be like a normal thing.
it should be a
Like,
norm. Right, right. So no, I love how you operate, what you're about, how you've embraced those life lessons.
mhm.
Because so many of us will look at it as, oh, it was a mistake. And this is until you
Mhm.
really sit with yourself and you start to adjust yourself speak, and you understand, you start connecting the dots, and you see it's all a part of your path, right?
Yeah.
But it's I love how you viewed it. You're not down on yourself, right? You're moving forward. You're not looking backward when you recall your story or share or whatever,
Yeah.
it's a picture of what has been. But I
Mhm.
also love, and I would love to just, toward the end of this conversation now, girl, I'm trying to pump the brakes, but this has just been so juicy. Um, just talking about how you said you're not afraid to share your story, obviously, and you've embraced that, and really understanding that that's who I was, but that's
Mhm.
not who I am now. I just had this
Yeah.
conversation with someone in my Power Your Soul Pivot guided experience, and when you arrive at that space, that is so powerful and
Mhm.
empowering, to just keep
Yeah.
you on that path, that path to where you can impact other lives, and and not be easily, I guess, deviated, or wander
Mhm.
off the path. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, it takes a strong personality, right? Like
Hmm.
looking back on the Rising from the Ashes story, like
Hmm.
I don't regret it because there was so many lessons in there. And I think even going into like that relationship, for instance, I think I was already on a downward trajectory.
Mm.
Just with because at the time it was again on the tail end of like all the COVID stuff, and there
Yes.
was a lot of bad stuff that happened
Mm.
throughout the couple of years before the story that I just shared here.
Likewise. Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
I feel like I was already on that downward path,
Yeah.
and that relationship was kind of just the catalyst
Hmm.
to explode it, right? And just kind of
Yes.
be like, okay, get down there
Hmm.
already so you can get back up. Like, so
Love it.
I don't regret it. It
Yeah.
was a super like it was a crazy lesson that I never wanted to learn, but but I learned, right? Like
Mhm.
I
Yes.
learned how to be around those type of people and to not expel your energy towards someone else's demons because that's a huge thing.
Hmm.
If you don't want to help yourself, no one else can help you in the end of the day. And
Right.
that was a big theme with that was that I was doing everything and anything that I possibly could do to help and just
Hmm.
breaking myself down in the process. And none of it was helping because you can't help
Yes.
someone who doesn't want to help themselves, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and that's again, that's another big
Hmm.
lesson that lots of people want to learn. So I don't regret that time of my life by any means. I'm super annoyed by it. Like, I will say I am annoyed with past Christine because of it, but
Yeah.
it's kind of put me in such a good place now. Like my
Yeah.
business is built in a much more structured, efficient, nice way. Like
Yeah.
before I was just like spaghetti at the wall. So, but
Yeah.
now ever since I built it back up, I was like, we're basically starting from ground zero and you've got
Yeah.
years of past experience. Now you
Yeah.
can build it up how you want to build it up, guilt-free. No
Yeah.
one's watching you, no one cares. Like, do
Mhm.
whatever you want right now.
I love it. Yeah.
And even like right now, I have the most wonderful man that is
Mhm.
a complete 180 of like everything that I've ever experienced.
Yes.
Like
I love it.
he's even like with my business and stuff over this last year, he's
Hmm.
just been so just like calm and supportive and like
So
such
good.
a cheerleader. Like
Yeah.
before I even signed the client that I have now, she said yes in an email or something. And I was like, I'm not gonna celebrate anything until like the invoice
Yeah.
comes through, because that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh no, we're barbecuing steaks. I'll get you some wine. We're
I love
celebrating. Like
it.
we're
Girl, keep that
celebrating."
man. Keep that man.
So yeah, like it's a total 180 because the last one was basically like, "Well, why aren't you folding my underwear?" I'm like,
Mm,
"Oh my God."
mhm. Girl,
Like
yes. Yes.
like
And
so yeah, it's just I think my moral of that whole story is it's okay to hit that rock bottom because once you hit it, you really can just grow and build
yes.
however you want from there. You're already at the bottom, it doesn't get any worse.
Right.
Like you can only go up from there, but really
Mm,
got to give yourself the grace to do it, the patience
yes.
to do it. The
Yes.
number of times throughout the day that I would just be annoyed again that I'm not doing as much as I could be doing or should be
Yeah.
doing, like within my business or anything. I just
Mhm.
annoyed all the time.
Mhm.
And I'd have to catch
Yeah.
myself and just say, it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not letting anyone down right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing things at your own pace and like it's okay if you don't have the capacity to do anything today. If the
Yes.
most you can do is sit in your backyard and read a personal development book,
Mm-hmm.
that's perfect because
It's
you're
okay.
working on your
Right.
mental health. You're working
That's
on
right.
yourself. Can't do all the things.
That's
Like,
right. You know what, Kristine, girl, I do not want to let you go. So much wisdom, so much wisdom. And my observation is that you have rebuilt on that firm foundation.
mhm,
And I firmly believe, my husband and I believe, I mean, it's literally our mantra for a defining past, success is built on a firm foundation. And
mhm.
that's the mind, the body, the soul, and the business. So
Yeah.
I am bravo to you, sis. I am so excited for you and just what is to come. The manifestation that has come to pass and you getting clients. And I'm just super excited for you sharing all that you have shared, and just opening up. So thank you so much again for joining me on Candid Conversations TV. I know this is going to bless and move some souls, heal some souls, move some folks into action.
I hope so. Thank you so much for having me. Like I said, I haven't really shared anything like this before, and I really hope that it resonates with a lot of people and it reignites their spark to kind of get back in the game, whatever that looks like for them.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, absolutely. Audience, I want you to be sure to leave your thoughts, your ahas, your perspective shifts, your feelings, all of that in comments right here on YouTube, Defining Paths Online. Leave those thoughts. Show Kristine Susa love. Follow her on social media. All of her information is in the show notes. Reach out. If you need someone to manage your podcast, reach out to Kristine. She
Or
has
even
you.
just talk.
Or even just talk.
Even just
Exactly.
talk.
Because as she told you, she's going to tell you the truth, right? So you may not should be doing a podcast right now. I love it. I love it, Kristine. Any closing words of advice? You already kind of shared some, but girl, there's so much wisdom
Oh,
coming out of your mouth right now. So do you want to share any last thoughts?
oh gosh. Just when you feel like you're at rock bottom, you're probably not really there yet.
Mm,
And it gets better. It really does. Time is such a fickle thing
mm,
that you're never too old to start something new. Your time is never expired. I know people that have rebuilt their life at 60 years old, so
yes.
never think that you're too old to change your trajectory of life and always choose happiness and joy.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Girl, look, how old are you? You don't have to tell me, but
I'm 34.
girl, wisdom, wisdom. So, so faithful, make sure you like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel right below, and set those notifications for weekly drops. Don't forget to reach out to Kristine. Just have a conversation, see where it goes. That's what we did. And look, I leave you with this. The truth will set you free, beloved. Your call to action today. Learn how to think without those boxes. Those boxes are literally keeping you locked in or hovering about it, right? Think without the box. Unplug from the matrix and that socio-cultural programming that's holding you back and snuffing out your soul. Conditioning, as you've heard me say, it had me in a mindless spiral. And I love Kristine pointed out the fact that it's a mindless downward spiral. So if you feel yourself in that downward spiral, that's a clue. Check in with yourself. I was in a space of having no hope, truly defining my path, unable to heal. I wasn't even thinking about defining my own path, right? I thought I was. I was unable to heal and progress because of the mask that I wore and the state of denial that I was living in, chasing something that I wasn't meant to chase, hiding my truth. How did I break free? I had a candid conversation with myself finally. I apologized to my soul, then my God, and finally chose me, just as Kristine chose herself, to pursue our soul's purpose. You can do it too. So with faith as my foundation and conscious intuition as my guide, I decided to be the captain of my fate and the master of my soul. That's when I was able to pivot, heal, rebuild, and pursue my humble and joyful transformative greatness. So my question, what is the candid conversation trying to erupt in your soul? Is it time to think without that box? Is it time to pivot? Is it time to define your own path? We're here for you. Kristine has already extended her invitation, so I will follow that up for you to do just that. Come and have a conversation with us, with Kristine, with me, my husband through Defining Paths International, the One Project, Power Your Soul Pivot. We're just waiting for you to reach out so that we may help you build your success on a firm foundation, mind, body, soul, and business. Once again, I'm DocV, the Pivot Maestro, and your corner woman right here on Candid Conversations TV. Again, please like, subscribe, set those notifications, stay plugged in. You heard Kristine just testify that she plugged in. It's so important. Reignite the fire. Always be true to you and define your path. And we'll see you on our next episode. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks, Kristine.
Thank you so much.